Tubers, plusers. Why an empty bottle? Because that's my funny honey, and it's to symbolize a weedless, weedy weekend. This is my weedy weekend with my son, and I guess every second weedy weekend until I get this resolved will be weedless, and that'll be my last story tonight. Um, but these first couple of stories, let's get right to it. Uh, what I really like is the first story, which, again, please subscribe. You will find these in the description. The first story is marijuana, the super antibiotic of the future. I love this story because I truly feel this way, and science has come back and kind of backed it up for us. Truly, I ask you to read the story because basically it reiterates what we've been told about, the antibiotics that we've chemically engineered in our world are becoming useless. And yet, what we have, excuse me, in this we're heading for excuse me, a post antibiotic future. Or are we? We have a plant that is so full of chemical nutrients, of medicinal properties. People just don't even understand how far this plant reaches. We haven't gone down to the molecular level yet in scientific research. We're only up at the atomic level. I'm sorry. We're only up at the chemical level of CBDs and THC and THCA and what they do to us. We haven't gone way down deep. And this really explains how deep the cannabinoids, when researched at a molecular level, can take away our needs for antibiotics. So I really encourage you to read that. My second story. Normally, right now, I would say, everybody, let's cheers. But that's empty. I'm not allowed to cheers. So my second story brings us to Canada Day and Cannabis Day. In Canada, July 1st is Canada Day. It is also Cannabis Day. And every year in Vancouver, we have had some wonderful response by local authorities in helping us, us as in activists, have a good day in giving out weed and giving out brochures and information and educating. But as has been reported, the police went absolutely crazy on Cannabis Day in Vancouver. It was kind of reported that leading up to it, even the Emerys were saying the people responsible for health and safety and getting all the proper certificates and zoning and everything for the stage and where they were going to hold it. This year, they weren't getting everything they needed. Something was different. The organizers were not getting every everything, every bylaw that they were trying to adhere to and getting the right certificates and the right zonings in place. They were meeting brick walls where every other year they were not. So it was obvious something was going to happen. And then on the day of, all of a sudden the police moved in on one dispensary. I don't know which one. It doesn't matter which one. And said that they were selling. At first it was just saying they were selling, which was bad enough, but saying they were selling to minors. And as as per Coral Reefer, who I watch, who's from the U.S., she calls bullshit, and I call bullshit because there isn't one dispensary out there that needs the money so bad that they would take a chance with cops all around at a time when people are giving away weed and everything else to try to sell to a minor. It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. Um, we have false flags all over the world by governments. Why wouldn't the police just? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Yes, I'm calling the police a liar. So I will link my story from Pot TV there. There are many other stories. Again, cheers if you have it. Here's to next year being the better Cannabis Day. And there's also 710 coming up. Let's all hope that that goes better. Let's cheers to that. And the third story, Marijuana World News has released this. I've released this a few times, the LD50 rating. All drugs have a routine that's called LD50. How much of that drug does it take to overdose within 15 minutes? How much would you take within a 15-minute time period? And let me just read this. At present, it is estimated that marijuana's LD50 is around 1 to 20,000 or 1 to 40,000. In layman terms, this means that in order to induce death, a marijuana smoker would have to consume 20,000 to 40,000 times as much marijuana as is contained in one joint. NDA supplied marijuana cigarettes weigh approximately 0.9 grams, so approximately a gram. A smoker would theoretically have to consume nearly 1,500 pounds of marijuana in 15 minutes to die from it. So in practical terms, you cannot. Now, even if someone's doing concentrates or dabs, that's 3 to 4 times more potent than the flower. That still means hundreds of pounds of dabs in 15 minutes. Now, I saw a guy do a 5-gram dab, and just recovery from the 5-gram dab so that he could breathe again and talk was 15 minutes. It's impossible. So again, those people who want to say, oh, but what if while he does the dab, he falls over and hits his head and dies from that? That's dying from hitting your head. That's not dying from smoking pot. So let's get that out of the way. Now the final one. The final story is a personal story. The final story is me and my son. The final story is man in Alberta is taken to court for custody of his child. Man has raised a whole family already and even raised 2 of his 5 grandkids for a couple of years. So very, very good parent. The only thing against man is that Health Canada gave him a medical marijuana license to get rid of his depression, migraines, and to treat his chronic pain from a broken neck 30 years ago and fibromyalgia that is ongoing. Thought it was a slam dunk. Asked for full custody man asked for full custody of his child to counteract woman asking for full custody, hoping that they walk out with equal custody. Judge hears marijuana, orders full custody for woman, orders that man, even visiting 2 days out of every 14, cannot even take his medicine during that visitation. Yes, that's my story. That's my story. I went in last Monday, even told there's a whole bunch of deception behind it too, and that'll come out in court later. But all we were doing was going into court to decide the future of a wonderful little child, not to slap a man in the face. But what happened was a judge heard the word weed, didn't want to hear any more from me, and took my boy away. I have him here this weekend. That's why Weedy Weekend is weedless. But as a added event, we're going to ask a couple of questions of the boy. Pasha, come here. So we're going to have an interview on Weedy Weekend. My dear boy, say hi to everybody on YouTube.
Hello.
So, Pasha, has Daddy ever smoked his or taken his medicine around you?
No.
No? You don't know much about my medicine, do you?
No.
No, but do I need it?
Yes.
Do you have anything to say to anybody out there?
That my mom gone and in court and said that dad smoked medicine, but didn't say that he didn't smoke it around me. So now the judge says and mom says that dad is not allowed to smoke any medicine when I'm at his house or around him.
And what does that do for us if I can't?
Then my dad will get sick as easily, and he might even have to go to the doctors.
It's not very nice, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's only medicine, right?
Right.
And have you ever seen my medicine?
No.
That's right. See?
Not so much, but
because my medicine is where?
in a hiding place.
That's exactly right. You don't know where it is because I hide it.
Yes.
That's where it's supposed to be. Okay. Well, you throw kisses to all my friends out there and say, love and peace.
Love and peace.
And goodbye from the Birch family for Weedy Weekend 9. And happy days. Pasha, say happy days.
Happy days.